Welcome to the Inspired Show.
Hey, first one from Thailand.
Live from Thailand. Looks like we're glitching a bit, but I think it'll be fine recording.
I'm just going to tell myself that those glitches won't be there in the final product. But yes, we're live from Thailand. It is almost 6 a.m. here. It's been an interesting little pivot.
Yep, and we're going to interview Derek, OG from LMV.
LMV OG. Very excited to see how his business has grown and evolved through the program. And yeah, there's so many people in this program that you just don't even know about. They're just hidden
Lurkers.
figures. Yeah.
Sit in the back.
They grow their massive agency and then just hide behind the shadows and watch everyone try to do the same.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Right.
So we're just waiting for him to join up here. It looks like he's going to come in here soon.
This is a bit of a test for us because this is the first time running this software and everything from our new Thailand Wi-Fi. So hoping everything goes smoothly. But these are some of the things that we are running into as we travel abroad, dealing with different Wi-Fis and different setups and all that fun stuff. And by we, I mean Alex. Alex does all of this. I'm not going to take any credit.
I appreciate it, though.
I organize the interviews. Alex sets up the tech.
Figure out how to make it work.
We all have our strengths.
And from our perspective, it looks kind of messed up. It looks like we're like, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, but I feel like anybody, I mean, I've learned in the short period of us using Riverside that you can't judge it based on what you see during the interview because that's usually not what it ends up looking like at the end product. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah.
All right.
Check.
Got a nice instant coffee.
I think we started.
You think what?
Okay. Now I hear just like the reverb in our voice here on the microphone.
Are you getting that like kind of staticky?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like, oh, maybe that's why. Yeah, there you
Check. Yeah, that's better.
go. All right. So, nothing really different about the style of this interview. Basically, just going to get Derek to explain to us how his business evolved pre, during, and post LMV, and how he gets clients, what he does for them, how he deals with things like market saturation, how he stays productive. I feel like that's a really good one for online entrepreneurs because anybody who works online knows that it's very easy to get distracted just working on your computer all day. Right, Alex?
Some would say.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got for this intro. How are you adjusting to life in Thailand? Are you loving it? Are you struggling with anything?
I think it's fine. I mean, the gym is kind of shitty, but it's what it is. I mean, Thailand itself is, it's hot, so it is nice. But I think you can kind of just work anywhere. I don't think it really matters where you are. Unless you have like some kind of crazy studio that you like need to have or like need people to come to you for. I just don't want to that be the case.
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Derek, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good.
Not
doing
too
good.
much.
This is cool. I've looked into Riverside before, but I've never used it. And as an alternative to Zoom.
What we're gonna do here, Derek, is we're gonna switch it to low data mode, so you won't see us, and we won't see you, but you'll still be in camera. It'll still record your camera, and you'll still be in frame. Okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, we're just gonna do that to preserve the quality of the end product because, like I said, we're in Thailand. I think I mentioned that to you, and we're on a bit of a different Wi-Fi system, so we just want to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best shot at a good final product here.
Yeah,
we
talked to someone from Australia when we were in Canada, and it was like there was such a crazy lag for some reason, and it was just like difficult to talk to them, but also difficult in the recording. Like it just didn't work because we were so delayed.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Well, it was cool to see you for 2 seconds there. You got a cool purple light behind you.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I forget that nice I can't use my fancy schmancy Zoom background on StreamYard and stuff and Riverside. So it's like, oh yeah. So
yeah. Do you put one of those like kind of fake backgrounds behind you?
Yeah. I have one. So actually, let me Alexa, turn on my front door light. Alexa, turn my front door light to 5%. Lighting is everything, right?
Yeah.
That's a little.
You got that right.
Alexa, turn my front door light to 10%. That's way low. So. Oh, wait, there's some contrast. There you go.
We can't see it, but we trust it. It looks good.
Yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah. I've been doing this a while. I've done a lot of video.
Nice.
So
awesome.
I understand the
importance. Well, to officially introduce ourselves, I'm Kelsey. This is my partner, Alex. We go by the brand Inspired Idiots. And to kind of give you some context on what we're doing here, we're basically interviewing different online entrepreneurs and kind of getting them to break down, like, you know, what they did to build their business. Obviously, with you, we'd like to talk about how you use the LMV program and kind of hear a little bit more about that. And then just learn a little bit about what you do for people today and kind of how you got to where you were. So it's nice to meet you. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on and share with your listeners and provide any value that I can provide for sure.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, I mean, I think we can kind of just jump right into it. We want to respect your time and everything. So can you give us a little bit of like a background on you and how you got started in online business and how you found LMV and just kind of a run through of that?
Yeah, totally. So my journey started back in 2015 and I was really going through some major life events, right? That's when journeys start, forks in the road, if you will. So you know, and I knew how to do like one specific thing, kind of a set of things, and that was the job that I had for, you know, a while. And it really never had anything to do with anything online or anything in the digital space. And as I was kind of starting to go through this transition, I was like, I need to learn new skills. I mean, we keep using this stuff. I start using Facebook at this time, you know, more and more and more. And I knew that there was just other skills that I could learn in better ways, effective ways to either have like a side hustle or have a different skill that would allow me to, you know, work. Back in that day, it was like work from home. You know, that was the hook. That was the offer. I wanted to learn all the realms of that. So what I did is I went and I learned. I got a course and kind of started understanding the frameworks and learned how to blog and stuff like that. And it had some basics on building a website. And I started building a website, just WordPress, almost pretty much teaching myself. The thing that I bought turned out to be like a thing that just teaches people to promote the thing. And I'm like, well, that's not what I wanted. But classic. Anyway, so I started just kind of teaching myself. And even back then, watching some YouTube videos and would work on it after work every day. As I'd sit out on the front porch, I have two kids, two boys. And at the time they were kids, and they would just run out and play with the neighborhood kids in the front yard. And my buddy would come over and we'd hang out, have a beer or whatever. And I'd always be like working on this, you know, project. And he's like, what are you working on? I'm like, I'm trying to like just figure out how to build websites. And ultimately, long story short, he and I connected and he's like, it's funny. He walked up one day and he said, I just actually had a conversation with the guy that does the repair on my car. And he said he needs a website. And I was like, well, maybe I could take this thing and make something and sell it to him. Long story short, I sold him a website for like $1,200 and I was hooked. And I never really kind of
when was that? What year? Sorry.
Journey. What's that?
What year was that, Derek? That you did that?
2016, 2015, something like that.
Okay,
So
nice.
it's been a minute.
Okay.
And I was kind of hooked on that. And then I went and bought like a $7,000, dollar course. I kind of stepped up my game for sure. And fortunately they let me put it on a payment plan. But that course taught me more stuff. Like it taught me everything I needed to know deeper and with more intentionality. And that was cool, and it was working, and I was getting some clients, but I was like, I need to learn. I started to learn about Facebook ads and started to learn about other things, other realms that were showing up as I started to really dive into this. And I had the opportunity to do sales with that group, with the guy that I actually bought the course from. So that was, I got to learn sales from this perspective, high ticket sales, as we call it now. And we didn't even have that term for it back then. And there was, just this whole other thing. I was like, man, it's taking me a lot of time to get sites ranked on Google and try and get people calling, and I should learn ads. So that's when I kind of ran into James and Jason and Local Marketing Vault, and they taught all things ads and funnels, and I was like, perfect, because I need to know that. And I learned how to do some real estate stuff. I got a few different styles of clients, but a realtor friend that I was working with, I set her stuff up, and we got her like 78 leads in 2 weeks. Now we're talking Facebook ads circa 2017. So there wasn't a whole lot of competition.
The golden age.
So the golden age of Facebook marketing. So, and I didn't know that either. And I also didn't know anything about CRMs or systems, anything like that. So I was like, cool, here's these leads. I don't know what you do with them after you get them. Like, she was just paying me like $500 or whatever to do that for the first month. And, so, and it worked. And I was like, oh, wow, this provides a lot faster result for my client, so that they get the value of what they're paying me quicker than if I'm doing SEO or website development or other things like that. So I was kind of hooked. And then from there, went on and slowly built my SMMA. So my social media marketing agency, where we literally scaled to about 87 clients that we're doing Facebook marketing for, lead generation for in the real estate space. So that's kind of the journey so far.
That's awesome. So when you came into LMV and you kind of made that pivot of doing more of these kind of fast acting services, how long would you say it took you to get up to that 87 clients, and what like outreach method did you use to get your first few clients?
Yeah, so first few obviously is always good to go sphere of influence, your circle of people that you can touch and know and call and be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. But for people, they've got to understand you need to get over your fear and just do that and just announce to people, put it on Facebook. Don't think that someone's not going to, because as human beings, we all want to help each other. So your inner circle of people, your friends, family, stuff like that, they're going to want to help you. They'll give you a name, contact people you can talk to. And that got me my first few clients. And, Facebook groups back in the day got me more clients from there. But really going from having maybe 5, 6, 8, 10 clients to 87 clients really came when I really spent some coin on a mastermind and coaching that taught me some of the back end internal things so I can internalize onboarding, internalize follow-up, build ads and run ads. We were running Facebook ads to generate leads and for lead engine, my agency. And then those leads would become appointments and take sales calls. I did sales calls for a while. Then I hired somebody to do sales calls. I have a client success manager who connected us together. And then that's really when I started to scale. So when I kind of went a level deeper and built out the internalized agency stuff have tracking sheets and all these things that are boring and unsexy and really have nothing to do with fulfilling marketing for the client, but everything to do with what I kind of now call building the cookie shop, building the storefront, if you will, so that people can come in and understand what we sell, who we sell to, and they can purchase our product or our service, which is obviously marketing and lead generation.
Mm-hmm. And are you specifically only working with real estate agents?
Yeah. So the only way, as I studied guys that had scaled, because I really wanted to do more, there was a common thread throughout all of them. They only worked with one type of client. If it was it was a chiropractor, and it was someone that they'd had a few of those, 2 or 3 of those clients before, and they felt comfortable kind of in that realm, in that space, and they got good results for that client, and they felt comfortable with that type of clientele. So where most agencies, where most marketers can never scale is, if I go on right now a plumber client, I've got to go understand his customers, his offer, his hook, write copy for his stuff, write unique emails, like all of these systems need to go in place. Understand the ads, the marketing, the pictures, the images, the follow. So I've got this entire equation that I need to now learn, that I mastered with this other niche, but I'm taking on this now niche that's going on. So it's like you're going to be reinventing the wheel every time. So because of that, what made the most sense, and when I studied this, more deeply, it's like, all right, you've got to pick one niche and you've got to scale. Not 3, not 5, not this side thing. It's like, we work with these people, we're experts, we get them results, and here's how we do it. And if you're that person, and if you think about it, it's like, if you work with plumbers, I chose to work with real estate agents. There's 1.8 million realtors in the United States alone. And I've had clients in Canada and in the United States. So thinking that I need to work with this type of person and this type of person and this type of person is a limited belief mindset in so many ways, that it's like, no. There's millions of people that do that one thing that you're starting to master. So as you scale in vertical, you've got to become an arrow and do the one vertical. And it's simple, right?
And Derek,
because you want
I'd love to ask
fulfillment. So it's like the thing that you're doing with this person. If another person walks up and says, "Yeah, I like that. I want you to do that for me." You're just replicating the same process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like we get this question all the time from people, where it's like, they may say, well, isn't what you're doing saturated?
Isn't what you're doing saturated? Great question. So again, another limited belief mindset. So yes, it's saturated with people who have 2 clients or 1 client. And that's just don't be that. So, and I liken it to this, Alex, I liken it to, there's a lot of people in New York with carts selling hot dogs on the side of the road. There's only so many businesses you can, and there's a lot of them, but there's only so many that you can walk into. So if I have a true brand, a true branded professional website, a VSL funnel, resources for that niche, like a growth guide, or a top 5 Facebook ads, or I've spent time building resources for them. If I have a private free Facebook group where I go live for 15 or 20 minutes once a week, just to provide value, build authority, and give back to that group. Now I'm building this store. I'm what I like to call curating people into my environment, and they understand my authority, how I can help them. And then all those people that's saturated, like, they're going to come from those other marketers to me, because I've spent the time building a brand, building a product, and building something that is more of a storefront that they can walk into and see that. So There's not a lot of those out.
Mm.
There's not a lot of people that scale past really 10 clients ever. So I did an LMV a couple years ago live where I got to speak, and I asked that question in the group. I'm like, how many people have, at least one client? It's basically everybody in the room. And then I was like, all right, how many people have at least 3 clients? And then some more hands went down. How many people have 5 clients? Right? It's less than half the room at this point. How many people have 10 clients? There's like 2 people in the entire room. So what you have to realize is it's not saturated. There's a lot of people doing one-off side hustles. And if someone would sit down and commit to building the internal stuff, like there's not a lot of agencies doing that.
Right. So when you say the internal stuff, it sounds like that was like a pretty big pivot point in your business when you kind of got those things sorted out. Did that do you mean that you were just kind of coming up with like system of processes to kind of streamline things to get better results for your clients? Or what exactly did that look like for you in making those internal changes?
Yeah. So not necessarily results. Results for me for social media marketing is really, you can figure out the best ads to run because you can go to the Facebook ads library and just start looking at stuff that works. And you can go to other marketing groups and ask people what works, or you can go to a course you purchase like LMV and get some of the things that work and test a few things. And then you can dial that in 90 days or less. And ultimately you want to, have 1 to 3 offers that you provide for that client, right? And for a lot of clients, it can just be 1 offer. But for us, I had like a list of homes offer, a seller's guide offer, and a new listing on the market offer. And that ad was the same over and over and over. And it was custom, but also a template in so many ways, right? We did build custom images for that client of homes in their area, and custom copy that was on the ad, but the follow-up was very much the same, in so many ways, other than some custom values we built in a tool that we use, high level. But a lot of fulfillment was very much the same. What happened is, Kelsey, is we were able to go in and internalize or just build processes on the back end about the client experience. I was, believe it or not, on a podcast earlier today, talking to somebody. I was like, this is the first, about the time to value, to collapsing the value that client gets. That if they pay me $1,000, how fast can they get that perceived value back? Is that necessarily them getting a client, or is that also about client experience? Is that about onboarding and communication? What I found is there's a lot of marketers that have all this stuff on the front end and all kinds of polished stuff. And then on the back end, it's crickets. On the back end, it's just like, where'd all the people go? Where's the person that helps me? Where's there's no structure. So what I intentionally built was automations and systems so that on that the delivery, right, from the person becoming a prospect to a client was really smooth and really streamlined, and onboarding happened and all the different things happened in a smooth way. And we had that client's high level account up. We had their ads built in a matter of really hours, or, obviously we asked for days, but it's something that we could literally just fulfill the main things for that client in a matter of hours. Something that they'll essentially use for months to come. So we collapsed time and we made sure that the onboarding was smooth. We made sure that we had a proper intake form. So we have really funnels and systems in the back of our agency for stuff that we use internally, so I can go out and hire setters, hire salespeople, hire a client success manager, so that I can focus on being the brand, maybe being the face, maybe doing sales calls if I feel like I just want to do that, which I like to do sometimes. But ultimately, what I find is most marketers, they're trying to wear all the hats, and you should when you're first starting, but no one builds a system that allows for other people to step in so that you can grow.
Mm-hmm. Right. And what do you feel like that first change or that first thing you outsourced was it like a fulfillment role? Was it a sales role? Was it like getting leads, like getting in contact with people? Like for you, what was that very first thing that you outsourced?
That's a great question, Alex. So the first time I outsourced something, it was a media buyer. Now there's a tool called UpX, which is phenomenal, and it just templatizes ads for you and your clients so that a media buyer could essentially manage 20, 30, 40 people with ease. But the first thing that I did was pay a media buyer to run and launch the ads for me. So, and that was like 2019. And that worked for a while. But again, the thing that I didn't focus on first that most people don't focus on is I didn't have a steady stream of leads for myself and a steady stream of appointments that I was getting for myself for people that wanted to learn about my business. Right. So
you didn't feel like overwhelmed with the amount of appointments set for you. I mean, like, you had extra time.
So, and then I went out and found a VA that professionally goes out and has a team that does, that sets appointments for marketers looking for, different clients. So, and then she did a great job for me and started, I went from having periodically maybe 8 appointments in a month, with all my effort to 40 appointments in a month. And obviously success really comes in volume. So, and then I got around the right people that were like, why are you just doing 40? So, because the goal should be to have 100 appointments in a month, right? From cold traffic. If people had that a month, they'd accidentally in 6 months hit, 100 clients. You just would. So most marketers, most agencies, they're so focused on fulfillment. They're so focused on the strategies and all the stuff. And I tell people, it's like, all that's cool, but none of that means anything unless you can get new people to talk to easily, effortlessly, and systematize in a way that that you're going to get air. I thought about it in a kind of a metaphor way. It's like we're snorkeling and people keep diving down and doing all the fulfillment work without getting air. It's like, you better get a system where you can go up and get air because you're gonna run out. So I started, I shift my focus in 2020 to really, was the most important thing. And that kind of changed everything. So I had her, she was booking appointments. And first I was just doing discovery calls. And then if it seemed like a person who did show up to the 15-minute call, like what one of my mentors calls a triage appointment. It's kind of, which is something I ended up giving to a setter for them to do, is now I can get them to a sales call after that. So like a 2-step call to close them on business over Zoom and take their credit card over the phone, or over Zoom. So when I started focusing on that, that's when I grew, and fulfillment happened because I was just picking up. Fulfillment got better and better because, like weights in the gym, I just was picking them up and doing the reps. The reps is really the sales calls and the making sure you've got appointments, and fulfillment will get really good if you just have to do it over and over and over again. So it's just like walking, right? So we didn't have to teach a baby strategy.
I love that you focused on that front end.
They just got up and took a lot of steps. So if you can create something that you get a lot of appointments, a lot of conversations, sales will get good. And if those people say, sure, yeah, I'll work with you. Maybe you suck at first, but then the product that you provide for them will get really good. People have it completely backwards. They want to make the product really good and they don't have anybody to do it for. It's like, well, why? So
I think people are just scared, really. Like, they're just like, oh, if I make it really good, then like I won't let anyone down. And then people
let a bunch of people down. That's the first step to being successful. Like, piss a bunch of people off. If you haven't done that yet, you probably haven't really started doing marketing. So
I love that.
You missed that step on the checklist, man. Come on
right.
now.
It's really, really important that you get out of your own way and follow the path the right way, which is you are your client. You should be your client first. Get yourself leads, get yourself booked calls, and then sell that to somebody else. So that's kind of the way. When I flipped that, that's when we really started to scale. And then I paid somebody way too much money. It was all worth it to get ads, to figure out how to build ads properly. Because I was running ads and kind of doing a thing and spending a decent amount of money, but not getting super great results. Then I paid another coaching course to teach me how to do that, and then started dialing that in. And that's when we really kind of took off. So I didn't need a VA to book calls for me when people were booking their own all day, every day. So from ads.
That's awesome.
And that's, I went back and watched a podcast. Forget the dude's name. He scaled like 5 social media marketing agencies. And he said they looked at everybody. They did like a study and found that 90% of the agencies that hit 100K months are all running paid ads. Like there's no way around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know. So for you, I mean, I know you said that pretty much right from the beginning, you did have a bit of a focus on realtors. So when you were kind of going through those beginning phases and you're, letting people down and testing things, how did you kind of evolve in terms of the prices that you charge your clients? Because I think that's something that people really struggle with in the beginning, especially when they're still dealing with some of that imposter syndrome, is like how to price myself to make this worth my time, but also feel like I'm giving my clients good value. So how did you kind of approach that as you evolved?
Out of the gate, I used a method that I learned first called the Buffoon method. Like, hey, I'm just figuring this out. Could I send you these leads? Right. And then say, hey, why don't we, and we'd really kind of come up with a pricing plan. Now this is like pre any of this. This is like Google ads and like home service companies that I'm working with at this point. But when it came to, I'm going to do this for realtors, I'm going to charge them this much, I just went and kind of looked at what other, shop around. I knew I wanted to know what's other people that are marketers that are doing this at a higher level. What are they charging their clients? What is that kind of ticket for a done for you? What's the ticket typically for a done with you model, where I'm setting it up for them and they're kind of flying the plane themselves. So I kind of got into that, and then, I kind of settled in at anywhere from I have a few different plans, anywhere from, $597 a month. And that was just bare bones stuff, all the way up to like, $1997 a month, like VIP service kind of thing. So that's, and that includes ad spend, stuff like that. Certainly people can charge way more than that in the Facebook ads and ad spend realm. But what we found is if you want to have the most amount of clients, you want to be under 1,000 per month per client. And whether you want them to pay for the ad portion or not, that's the easiest close. But yeah, for the first, I'd say for anybody listening, for the first 10 clients, I would do the Grant Cardone method. Work for less than your value is, right up until you get underpaid, right up until you get overpaid, is what he says. So you've got to build that value, build the concept, and bring a bunch of people through the door and provide them that value. Then you can raise your prices as you go along.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that's good. That's helpful. I just have a couple more questions for you, but I want to make sure you're okay for time, because I know we slotted this in for 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, we can, go whatever you guys want to do. 45 minutes or so is fine.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. So that is kind of one of the things that we like to dig into a little bit in these interviews is, kind of tips or things that you would pass along for people who are maybe just getting into online business, or maybe even they're brand new in the LMV program. What kind of tips would you pass along for people just getting started that you feel like you would have benefited from hearing sooner?
Yeah. Trust the process. Like if you're in a specific program, if you're in LMV or whatever program that you're in, you've got to trust the person that's leading you, and you should do it step by step the way that they're teaching you, right up until you've mastered it and you've proven concept and you've gotten whatever the result is a few times. And then you can go off and expand from there, or what I refine from there, or scale from there. But ultimately, if you're brand new, you need to follow everything step by step, watch it multiple times, ask questions in whatever, be on every coaching call. It really depends on how hungry you are, but the tendency of entrepreneurs, the reason most of us are here in entrepreneur world, is because we really like to figure things out on our own, and that's the slowest path. That's the slowest path to the result. So it is good to have a little bit of a rough path, right? Calm seas, rough seas make a skilled sailor, but you still need to follow the person that is teaching you the stuff and make sure you are doing it the way that they're saying. So if they're teaching you prospecting, do it that very way, to the letter, to the T. Don't add your own recipe. Like if we're making a recipe for pies and I'm watching your video on how to do pies and you're like, add sugar, and I'm like, I don't like butter and sugar, this should be fine without them. And I don't add those things and wonder why my pie sucks. It's because I didn't follow exactly what you said for me to do and measure it out exactly how you said. So they just have to follow the system and be a student of this. Immerse yourself into it. If you're going to do this and have this be your career and have this be a transitional thing that you do from the job that you hate or whatever it is to a career that pays you well and allows you to make more money than you ever maybe would have doing this other thing, and allows you to run your own business, you need to immerse yourself. You can't dip your toes in the water. You've got to get all the way out in and swim and immerse yourself into this stuff. Live it, breathe it, watch as many videos as you can, and just show up to calls, ask questions, and be so present that people are like, can't help but notice you. So, and then move aggressively fast. Money loves speed. So that's one of my favorite quotes. That's probably the best tips that I could give somebody new. And then of course to have somebody that maybe can hold you under their wing and one-on-one and give you some personal time as well, if you have the ability and the means to do that.
I love that. Money loves speed. That's such a good way to sum it up, because so many people think, especially when it comes to investing in a program or something, that they're like, oh, I can save the money and just learn it myself. But that kind of says that you're valuing your dollar, which you can always get more of, more than your time, which you can never get back. And I love that you said money loves speed. I think that sums it up so well.
Yeah. Alex Hormozi talks about that in
Derek,
his book. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Derek, do you you're talking about how you have different resources online. Do you make some of these resources online for people of how to scale their agency, like specifically those beginning steps? Because I find it, most people, they are looking to get more appointments for themselves and they're dabbling with VAs, but then they're crashing and burning.
Yeah. So one of the things that I committed to this year, I never really had a drive for it. And then it just kind of came on. So I never really cared, I'm like, cool, other marketers are doing their thing. But as I've been able to achieve kind of, I guess, the results maybe that people are looking to achieve, And I've kind of developed over, a heart to be able to help other marketers, because when I look back, I'm like, that that journey took me like 7, 8 years. And if
Yeah.
I would have just had somebody to maybe set some stuff up for me, show me some different things, and maybe walk alongside me a little bit more, maybe I could have been able to, do that faster and see the light faster and be able to scale faster. So I kind of committed to being able to work with a few people here and there as somebody's like, hey, listen, I'm getting 2 or 3, 4 or 5 clients. I'm hitting the ceiling. How do I get to 10, 15, 20 clients? So I have, put together, somebody asked me to do this for them or help them. And I sat down and I'm like, just give me all your stuff, give me all your logins, and built something end to end for them, probably in about 2 weeks. And because I just see it, I've done it, right? I've lived it and breathed it for a long time now. So I realized that like that's a valuable thing that probably could, if I reached back to newer marketers that want to scale faster and see that vision, that maybe I could put something together. So not that I have like a VSL or a landing page or a website, but if somebody did want to connect, I mean, honestly, I'm always happy to add value, look at ads with somebody, help them with a script of an outreach for a VA. But I do have a couple people now that I work with just one-on-one intensive style, helping them build their stuff, kind of almost like a partnership almost, putting all their stuff together so they have that house. So they have that that brand, that storefront, and all the things that go with it, so they can focus on one niche and serve that niche really well and get results. So yeah, I have something now that I'm starting to develop, and if somebody was interested, could potentially, be a part of. But it all starts with like just book an appointment on a personal calendar that I have, just to chat 101 to see if, because somebody might not need that, and they may just like, hey, what kind of hook should I put for this offer? And I'm happy to help with those things too. I don't mind.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. Because that's probably, and all the people that we interview and we end up talking with, and the questions that we get from people, because not that we've built a large agency or anything like that. We've just been talking with people who've been successful and learning from them and breaking it down and sharing it with people, and which then makes people feel like we know what we're talking about, which we definitely don't. So like that's kind of like one of the most common things that we see is like people are like, okay, I want to like get the leads coming in. I want to do the sales, but I'm either scared of just doing it myself, or I don't have the time. I'm at work, and they try to get VAs. I know we partnered with a guy who would get a VA and try to send leads, but the leads were, kind of all over the place. Most of them didn't even know what was going on. So it was like we'd call them and they'd be like, I don't even know who you are. And we're like, oh, that's weird.
It's really,
so,
and it's like I talked
I'm
about,
just more curious to
curating
pass
people.
that on for people.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part of that is of what I learned from another mentor that I paid about $30,000 to be in their mastermind. Stupid, I know.
Wow.
Is valuable, helped me get here, but sometimes we do silly stuff. So one of the biggest things I learned and understood that I wasn't creating for myself is curating them into my environment, because I ran into the same things. They were like, who are you? Like, why should I trust you? Like, you have to have all the right things in place so you establish yourself as an authority in that space in some way. And you don't need a billion testimonials and stuff like that. You don't need some cool video mashup, but there are ways to do it that need to happen a certain way so that that person can feel comfortable with working with you. So, and it's a process that, it's hard to get a VA to send you to a sales call. There's steps that need to happen for sure. So, those are the things that, I'm kind of like, all right, I know how to do those things and help anybody that's ready to kind of get to the scale place. So, are you guys,
it'd be huge.
Y'all are putting this on YouTube, or where do you guys usually publish?
Yeah, YouTube. We cut some clips and we put it into the LMV group as well for a lot of
Oh,
people,
cool.
especially
Yeah.
when there's like tactics to share, and that's where we end up getting all these questions from, is in the group and on YouTube as well.
Mhm.
Love it.
So if you do put any of that kind of material out there, any kind of guides, or you write anything down, let us know and we'll pass it on to the people asking, because that would be huge for a lot of people, because some people do have money and do want to invest in their business and see it as a business and want to build a machine. They just don't know where to start, and they feel like they don't have a lot of time to do it themselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, if you want, I'll send you guys my we can put a link in wherever, and people can just book an appointment on my calendar. I don't have a VSL. I don't have a long
Nice.
sales letter. It's not a thing like that. It's literally work one-on-one. Let's hang out. Let's partner together. Let's really figure this thing out together. I'm happy to give people the framework, but again, it's like,
Nice.
okay, what do I do now? So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely pass that along. So the last question I have is just actually in relation to LMV and the community. Like, obviously you were kind of getting this ball rolling before you joined LMV. So if you had to kind of sum it up, what do you think is the biggest thing that the LMV program helped you with in growing your business?
Yeah, so um it was really the first step to collapsing fulfillment. When you think about a business, right? If you and I go out to eat, right, and and we sit down in a restaurant, we have this expectation of, all right, well, we're going to get food in 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Well, if it took 3 hours, we'd be pissed. And it probably is whatever's going on in the kitchen. It probably is a lot of going on in a mess and maybe too many people. So being able to run ads and generate leads for that client, most people you run into, it's easier to sell something where it's like, I'm going to get you this thing. As soon as we turn it on, you'll start seeing results. You'll start seeing opportunities come in to your pipeline of people saying, hey, I might be someone that could work with you. And they can see a real result. So in all reality, we're collapsing the fulfillment. We're collapsing time to get a result for our client. And that's easier for people to it's easier to sell, and it's easier to keep people around. If I sold somebody SEO and I'm like, hey, you should work with me, and in 3 months you might get your first call from it, it's like, maybe we don't eat at this restaurant. Like, so it's harder. It's a harder sell. So yeah, you'll get your food in 3 hours. Like, maybe we go somewhere else. So the beautiful thing about this is it allows you to set up ads once, twice, kind of master a niche or two. Obviously you can do a few niches and figure out who you like to work with most at first, the first few months. But it allows me to really run the same ad over and over and over, and fulfill for clients in what I like to call doing boring work. And it's not guesswork anymore. It's like, I know the exact thing we need to put up, exact ad, how to run it. And it goes to this page and it fills out this form and it does this thing and it does this follow up. And it's all stupid simple for you, really complex for them. But it allows them to get the result faster. So what the biggest thing for me was, I didn't know how to do ads before LMV. I just knew how to build websites and I just knew how to do a little bit of SEO. I was like, well, let me try and sell that. And that was that was a really hard road for a really long time. And I dedicated myself to prospecting daily. I didn't have a VA, but I prospected it a bunch. I passed out business cards. I just did everything I could and did get appointments and did get a couple clients, but like after a couple months, they're like, I'm not seeing any calls. So I'm like, shoot. So they're out. So this allows us to get the result faster for them so that they can see that, hey, we can provide value. So it was really game changer. If I didn't have LMV, I wouldn't have been able to get 87 clients, real estate clients. It's the start of my journey.
Yeah. That's huge. And I mean, it's very synonymous with everything else that you've said about, speeding things up and speeding up that internal process. So my very last question for you, and then I promise we're going to let you go here. We always like to ask people, like, being an online entrepreneur is kind of full of distractions. You're usually working from home, you're working online, and it's really hard for a lot of people to kind of switch to that mindset of like, okay, I'm responsible for keeping myself accountable now. So have you learned any kind of, productivity hacks over the years, or do you have a schedule that you stick to that you're like, this is how I keep myself, organized and productive, anything like that?
Yes. So, and I learned this from a friend, kind of a mentor, quasi mentor. Is pretty brilliant dude. Most of us spent years, or maybe some people listening didn't have to spend a whole lot of time working for somebody. Well, we certainly built in school to this ideology and this psyche of do what someone else says, be here when they say, when the bell rings, go here. So it's like this someone else is dictating my day and my time. And as soon as you step out to become your own boss, you're like, oh, I don't have to do any of that. Yeah, but you got to do something. So what I learned from him is, if no one is your boss, make your calendar your boss, and then set your calendar up and do exactly what it says, and you'll be successful, because you're taking that psychology that was programmed in our first 17 years of life, and you're utilizing it for your own self, your own business. It's like, all right, for this, and I got really, really good at doing that. When I was doing prospecting on my own, I would set from 10 to 12:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to do nothing else but prospect. I'm not going to get up from my chair. I'm not going to go get a snack. I'm not going to go get more coffee. I'm not going to go wash dishes. I'm going to sit here and consistently do every prospecting method I've learned, which, by the way, the prospecting methods that James and Jason teach are some of the best even still to this day. Is like, get that holistic thing. It's a great place to start. And I would my boss was my calendar. So it's like, all right, I'm going to do that. All right, I'm going to take sales calls. All right, I'm going to do fulfillment. All right. So every part of the day, I did a certain thing until I could have somebody else do it. So make your calendar your boss, and just become religious with your calendar. You'll be successful for sure.
Nice. That's a really good way of putting it. Make your calendar your boss. I like that. Thank you. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions we have for you for now, Derek. But like we said, if there's anywhere that you want us to send people to your calendar, to resources, whatever, we can connect on that.
Yeah, I've got like a short
get
link
that to people.
Just a basic calendar. And then any free time that's on there, feel free to put it in. That's how you and we connected. Same link. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's the best way to get eyeball to eyeball and let me be able to help somebody, if it's for 15 minutes or if it's for something at a deeper level. If somebody needs more help or wants somebody to really dig in and kind of partner side by side with them a little bit, or help them with the internal systems. LMV obviously will show you how to generate ads and build funnels, and even to this day is still one of the best out there, and certainly the most have the most like different niches for you to be able to go into. But the internal framework of your agency, if somebody wants to work on that, I'm happy to work on it with them.
Okay. Well, awesome, Derek. A pleasure having you on here.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Dying over here. I can barely stand.
Appreciate you guys for having me.